God has given you certain blessings. He's blessed you in many ways. The question is, how have you stewarded those blessings? I want to show you today a guy who was a terrible steward of the blessings of God. In 1 Kings chapter 20, Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria, comes against Ahab. He has 32 other kings or tribal leaders on his side. It's an overwhelming force. And he says simply, Ahab, you need to give me your wives, your children, your gold, and anything I want, or I'm going to kill you and your kingdom. And Ahab goes, okay, no problem. And then he decides to take counsel with the elders, and they say, you can't do that. You're giving up our sovereignty. And so he comes back to Ben-Hadad and says, yeah, I changed my mind. We're not going to do that. And Ben-Hadad takes an oath and says, may the gods kill me if you're not dead by tomorrow. Same oath that Jezebel, Ahab's wife, had taken. And Ahab comes back and says, hey, the guy who boasts after he takes his armor off shouldn't be talking like the guy before he puts his armor. He's basically, you're talking pretty big. You're bragging before we've even had a battle. And then an unknown prophet comes to Ben-Hadad and says, God's going to give you this victory. And it's pretty much just grace of God. God's already rejected Ahab. He's been a terrible king. He's been evil. But God just decides, I'm going to do this. I'm going to bless you with a victory. And so Ben-Hadad and his chiefs, they get drunk, and that's when they come after them. And with 7,000 soldiers, they defeat Ben-Hadad. It's not a complete annihilation because they're still there as a nation, but they win the battle. And another prophet comes to Ahab and says, listen, in the spring, you need to get ready for another battle. And so they begin preparing for battle. And that spring, they're able to kill, in 7 days, 100,000 foot soldiers. And then they get Ben-Hadad on the run, and 27,000 die because a wall falls on them. Ben-Hadad ends up surrendering to Ahab, and he says, if you'll let me live, I'll give you Damascus back and Samaria back. And Ahab says, that sounds good. But he never should have made that deal. This is not what God wanted. God gave them this victory so that Ben-Hadad would be killed. And so another unknown prophet sort of disguises himself and has an elaborate ruse to tell him that God has rejected him from being king, and he would lose his life because he didn't take Ben-Hadad's life. And Ahab responds by being angry and sullen. He doesn't repent. He could have gone and killed him. He's just mad. The question is, what do you do with the blessings God's given you? It's easy for us to squander victories. This was a victory that God had just given to him. And he thinks, well, it's mine, do what I want. I'm going to show him mercy. And God didn't want him to be showed mercy. Ben-Hadad should have been killed, eradicated from the life of Israel. And so we got to look at the things God's done in our lives and think, have I stewarded that victory, that blessing in every way possible? Take a look at your own life and ask yourself that question today.